Once again, the familiar territories of blackness. And I found myself in the same prolonged state of consciousness deeper inside of purgatory. And I found myself that of all my negative emotions had submerged me once again. And I'm here to tell you that I am enough. I may not matter to anybody else, but I matter most to myself. And this is a message that I have to tell to myself. I am I am enough. I'll always be enough. I'll always be enough. And I worship the grounds that the people walk on, the people that I care most to, the people that are closer to my heart, and not regretting inviting them into my heart and my soul and my consciousness, my very limited mortality and my fragile state of consciousness, my fragile state of existence. And I was submerged so far down deep that I had lost myself for the longest time. I was only familiar with the darkness and its thresholds of its foundations. However, for those that I invite into my life, into my heart, and especially my trust and my respect and my heart, I don't ever want to regret that. And I don't ever want to regret that. Reflection of my anger, what so little people understand, was a reflection of my pain, my internalized pain, my trauma, my scars that I had to live with, of all the things that I had to survive as much as I didn't want to. I had to survive it because I'm a soldier. At the end of the day, I'll always be a soldier and a warrior, and I had to believe in myself when nobody else has. And I have to constantly remind myself consciously that I'm enough, that I'm a person, I'm a human being, and I deserve happiness, I deserve respect, I deserve love, I deserve redemption and forgiveness to be saved, and I deserve to be someone of all those qualifications and quantities, with all things considered, because of all the things that I've ever done in my life was just to do right by every single person in my life. And I try to be there, try to make other people glow up, make them as happy as possible. And often at times I lost myself by trying to make them happier than above myself, placing their happiness above myself. I do not regret the person that I've become today. However, every single day of my life, I'm struggling this fight to survive, this fight to throwing my past in the fire, or in this case, having to embrace it, embracing my shadow self, embracing the equilibrium, the balance, the laws of polarity, the duality, the gray that exists inside of myself, the compass that points me towards the light at the end of the tunnel. And of all things considered, that I will have become a better, more integrated, more structured, revitalized human being. And I, through knowledge, through power, self-belief, the core and the foundation that I've built upon myself, the core and the foundation I've built upon myself, and everything that I've strived to fight for, I've become a stronger and better person because of it. Often at times I'm having a struggle to fight and argue with my own consciousness. My consciousness telling me I'm not enough, that nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, that I'm a disappointment, I'm a failure to other people, and they expect so much more. They want me to be picture perfect, and it's a disappointment to myself because I'm not able to be absolute perfection to other people. I can only provide the raw intensity and the passion and power for who I am and what I am, and deliver myself in its rawest, truest form of authenticity and genuine self, deliver that into the world. And God forgive me if I cannot be a perfect human being. I'm doing all that I can to strive towards that perfection, strive towards how to become a better person every day of my life, forgiving myself for the things that I said, things I should have said, the things I should not have said, the things that I've done in my past. It shaped me, created me, the metamorphosis into the becoming of the oneness into what I've become today. And I would never trade that for the world. I would never trade that for anybody else. And if anybody cannot love me for who I am, then they don't deserve me, and it's a part of their life. It's simple as that. Because I will not regret or refuse, and I will not lose myself as I lost myself before. And if my adoration, my love, my commitment, if my respects toward just anybody, everybody in general, it's not targeted towards anybody specifically, but if my authenticity, my authentic self, if I'm not accepted and loved fully in the oneness of who I am, then I don't know what to tell you. Hashtag sorry, not sorry, unapologetically myself. I'm brutally honest. And if I'm a disappointment to others simply for being myself or being my raw, intense self, being a good person, having a pure heart with purest intentions, I don't know what to tell you. I found myself in this prolonged state of darkness, and I can just taste it. I can see it in my mind. Drowning deeper and deeper into the black voids, into the nothingness, the ether, the eons, what it felt like in eternity. I felt like, for the longest time, for all these people I was surrounding myself with, they were toxic and artificial, that they never cared of how I felt. They never cared where my mental state was. They never cared to visit me in this state of purgatory. I had tears. I had a broken, blackened heart. I had a fucked up mind. I fucked up soul. Fucked up everything in my life. And I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. And these people never visit me in hell. These people never visit me in purgatory. They have never visited me, cared to even check upon me. They never even cared to do anything for me. So I'm having to remind myself that I'm enough, that I'm empowered. And I keep having these thoughts and coursing through my thoughts in my mind that of all the scars that are reminding me while being alive that these people that surround me, at least surrounded me before, but I intended it that way. I'm optimistic. Certain times I'm getting better. I'm finding my healing and my grounding, and I'm discovering that light and that balance within myself. And it's just a process I have to undergo. I've been undergoing experimentations of rituals and spellcrafting that I am shedding off bits and parts and pieces of my soul and my heart, and that it's like carving a perfect wood sculpture. I'm finding myself again. I'm finding my healing, my light, my positive energy, my positive radiance of light and abundance in everything that I do. And all I ever wanted in my entire life, leading up to this point, was to be loved and cherished, respected and valued, and someone, trustworthy and loyal to me and love me unconditionally as I love them. Like, I've got a bleeding heart. I'm a Pisces, and all I do is like give my absolute everything, 110%, into my entire being, into everybody, into somebody else, whoever loves me, and I worship them like the beautiful star that they are. And I'm always there for other people. However, in my past, it seemed like I was always there for others. However, nobody was ever there for me. Nobody cared how I felt. Nobody cared if I was alive. Nobody cared about how I was doing. Nobody cared. And ocean waves constantly separating skin from the bone, my heart from my soul. The deeper that I prolonged myself, the more that my skin was like rotting away. My spiritual skin, my spiritual heart was deteriorating as a minute prolonged, as a minute progressed, every second, every millimeter of a second, every hour It felt like an eternity. I could feel myself just emerging deeper inside of this consciousness, this purgatory. I was so desperate to be saved, so desperate for somebody to come visit me in purgatory, so desperate for love and affection, just somebody to accept me for who I am and just like love me unconditionally, love me for who and what I am, despite my past, despite my flaws, my weaknesses, and my insecurities, or whatever else, and whatever demons that are like swimming around inside my heart. I've done all that I can and everything that I can in my investment, on my power to being there for other people and worship the grounds they walk on. I love them unconditionally, without question, like without any remorse, hesitation. That's the type of person I am. I've always been a really solid person, like a ride or die type person. I felt my heartstrings just completely severing and detaching in itself, and like I could see that light from the ray of the sun. I could see that light. It was just fading and disappearing, and every millimeter I could feel it disappearing. Like the further down I went, eventually I started finding light inside of that darkness. So I wanted to say in conclusion to this video, if you are someone who truly, absolutely loves me and accepts me for who I am, I thank you. I thank you so much. This video was not meant to be offensive, defaming, derogatory, disrespectful by any means, and it was not meant to throwing anybody or under the bus. I was just expressing my emotional state today in particular. I struggle every day of my life just stay optimistic, and back last year, November, December, as you all know, totally lost myself. Like I completely submerged myself in this state of darkness. And it's one of the most painful things to be a man, to being a male, and having to advocate for men's mental health when people don't take you seriously, when the world, they just, if you're a woman, sure, everybody, all these toxic, lustful men, they just want one thing out of a woman. They don't care of how a woman truly feels. Not like me. I'm a hopeless romantic at heart, and I love a woman for her personality, her heart, her her vibe, and her sense of humor. Of course, physical attraction, and as well as internal. But a lot of men, they just see a woman for her body. They don't care of how she feels. And when it comes to a man like myself, when I experience my mental health or like my emotions, then I barely get a whisper. A lot of toxic women in my past, they just recognize me for my physical attraction, my beauty, and that's it. Sexually abused me and exploited me and burned me at the cross for my heart and crucified me. And that's all in the past.